All right, another great morning to everyone who has joined us on today's edition of the show. Scoreboard in 15, the first in the new week. And of course, we can say Merry Christmas in advance just because we are celebrating Christmas in 3 days or 2 days from now. We know it's all about the festive moment, the jollification by everyone. But to talk about actions in the exciting world of sports, there definitely are actions going on across different centers. Well, we talk about the interesting world of football. In boxing, there in Miami, we saw what happened in the early hours of Saturday between Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul. In the world of tennis, we also saw the latest development from the world of tennis. Australia, Nick Kyrgios, well, definitely will be playing at the Australian Open. But we talk about football, proper football at large this morning. The Super Eagles of Nigeria gearing so well to play at the 35th edition of the African Cup of Nations. But I can tell you that yesterday, the host nation at the Prince Abdallah Stadium there in Morocco, well, you tell that it was a nervous campaign or outing by Morocco as they missed the penalty, but of course went on to defeat the stubborn that's Comoros side by 2-0. 2-0. You tell that that's a way to also show the fans that you are capable of winning the African Cup of Nations. If you go by what happened at the last edition, when the host nation that's talking about Ivory Coast won their opening game by 2-0. So can this be that a lineup of activity, action, where we talk about the interesting world of football? Well, definitely we'll discuss about the African Cup of Nations. Morocco getting their victory yesterday with Brahim Diaz, the man who definitely is playing in his first African Cup of Nations. But you can also tell that this is his first major tournament with the Atlas Lions of Morocco. He's the Real Madrid boy. He was on target. El Kabi also was on target in that encounter. We talk about the other games set to go down later today. Zimbabwe set for that crunch test against the Pharaohs of Egypt. And of course, we know that tomorrow, the Super Eagles of Nigeria will take on to the field of play. Cyril Desas back into the fold of the national team. Well, of course, maybe in the afternoon, we take a listen to the words of Cyril Desas as well as Ademola Lookman and Victor James Osimhen speaking about what Nigerians, what we need to do in order for them to actually achieve the 4th African Cup of Nations title. So it's a lot of activities where we talk about what happened over the course of the weekend and what we should expect this week. We know that there are cup games set to go down this week, or there's one cup game set to go down this week in England. And of course, we talk about other centers. Real Madrid, they were victorious. Kylian Mbappe getting his 59th goal in a calendar year, also equaling Cristiano Ronaldo's record. But you can tell that FC Barcelona, Rafinha and Lamine Yamal both were on target as Barcelona defeated Villarreal yesterday. And for Manchester United, where do they turn their face now? Where do they seek for help? As Bruno Fernandes, according to the manager, he is set to be out with an injury. A pull-up holding his hamstring at the end of the first half against Aston Villa. We have the BBC Premier League update. Definitely started by to give us the update from what happened yesterday. Then the exciting world of English football. And for Manchester City, where Pep Guardiola says his side will be weighed when they return to training to check they are fit enough to play against Nottingham Forest. That's on December 27th. So this and so many more we have lined up for you on today's edition of the show, right on 32 FM 94.9. And you are listening to the voice of Oluwatimile SAMIES on the program this lovely morning. Well, all right, the charity that say begins at home, but not in Nigeria now. We start straight from the African scene as we discuss about the African Cup of Nations. All right, the African Cup of Nations 2025 host Morocco began their campaign to win their second continental title with a somewhat never win over Comoros in the tournament opener that's in a rainy Rabat. Well, for Rabat, for Morocco, it is cold at this point in time. But to tell that the game that went down yesterday is all about the actions, end-to-end game from both sides, Comoros and Morocco. Well, ordinarily, you look at Comoros and say that in this game, they would be underdog. But I tell you that for Morocco, they actually sweat it out to get their victory yesterday. Well, the Real Madrid man talking about Brahim Diaz strike was greeted by a loud roar by the majority of the 60,180 fans in attendance at the Prince Moulay Abdallah Stadium, and the game then sparked into life as Comoros forward Rafiki Said was also denied by the legs of Yasin Bono, and Mazarawi saw a fine effort palmed away by Pando. So definitely it was a great game. I could see the highlights of the game where Walid Regragui, the man who definitely led Raja Casablanca to the CAF Champions League title. You also talk about leading Morocco to a fourth place finish at the FIFA Men's World Cup in the year 2022. So you tell about everything that has happened under the leadership of Walid Regragui, the head coach of Morocco. Can they now win the African Cup of Nations? Because this truly is a golden generation, golden team by the Atlas Lions of Morocco. So, bare minimum, they have to get to the finals as the host nation. But let's move forward also and discuss about some of the updates where Zimbabwe, well, they are set to face off against the heavyweights and the Pharaohs of Egypt in their opening match at the 2025 African Cup of Nations at the Adra Stadium in Accra later this evening. I can also tell you that for Senegal, they have confirmed the promising striker Sana Diao is out of the African Cup of Nations in yet another setback for a player considered one of their biggest prospects. The 20-year-old who definitely had been in doubt all weeks after he injured his hamstring while playing for Como against Roma in the Serie A on Monday, but his withdrawal was only finally confirmed by the Senegalese Football Federation over the course of the weekend. So you tell that players are still pulling off from the national team. That's because of one injury or the other. But then let's talk about English football, where Aston Villa defeated Manchester United by 2-1. Morgan Rogers is in the form of his life. Of course, Villa had played bad, but they got the victory against Manchester United. 2-1. Manchester United also was on target in that encounter, assisted by Patrick Dogu. But for Morgan Rogers, ice in his veins. Let's join our partners now, the BBC, to take a listen to what they have for us as regards the update from the games that went down yesterday there in English football. The BBC Premier League updates.
BBC Premier League update from the home of Premier League football.
Hello, I'm John Wilkinson at the BBC Sports Centre. Aston Villa have beaten Manchester United 2-1 in the Premier League, and they're 3 points off the top of the table at Christmas.
It was a tough game. They were a really good team in a really good moment, especially away from home. And yeah, it was a difficult game. It was a battle. I don't think we were at our best, far from it, but we found a way to win, and that's the most important thing, is picking up points and winning the game. And at home in front of our crowd, it means a lot.
Morgan Rogers scored twice for the second match in a row. It was a 10th win in a row in all competitions for Villa. Remarkably, Villa are now on their best run for 111 years, having had their worst start to a Premier League campaign for 28 years. United lost captain Bruno Fernandes to injury at half-time. They were already stretched by injuries and players leaving for the Africa Cup of Nations. Ruben Amorim says they have no choice but to find solutions.
Last year we had the same situation at this time, so it's not going to kill us. It's going to make us stronger. And the kids today did really well. We have to work with the players that we have, no excuses, and try to win the next one.
Monday night's game in the Premier League sees 15th placed Fulham take on 17th placed Nottingham Forest. Staying with the Premier League, and Liverpool fear that Alexander Isak has picked up a significant lower leg injury. He was challenged by Mickey van der Ven whilst scoring in Saturday's 2-1 win over Tottenham. The £125 million signing went for scans on Sunday, and it's not yet known how long Isak will be ruled out for. And for more football news from the BBC, go to bbc.com/football.
BBC Premier League update from the home of Premier League football.
All right, today you listen to the BBC Premier League update. So now, still within the English football, we have this one from Manchester also, where Pep Guardiola says his Manchester City players will be weighed when they return to training to check they are fit enough to play against Nottingham Forest. Well, for Gadola, he said his players were weighed before the West Ham game and met the required standards and will be weighed again when the reports are for training. That's this week. Remember, they defeated West Ham by 3-0. In the words of Gadola, he said the moment they arrive after 3 days off, I want to see how they come back. They can't eat, but I want to control them. They can eat, rather, but I want to control them. Imagine one player and now he's perfect and he will arrive with 3 kilos more. He will be in Manchester. He will not travel to Nottingham Forest. The words of Pep Guardiola. So now we talk about Spanish football as well. Where for FC Barcelona, they were victorious yesterday. Rafinha from the penalty spot and Lamine Yamal also on targets in that encounter. And you tell that they restored their 4-point lead over Real Madrid at the top of the La Liga standings, which had entertaining victory over 10-man Villarreal. Well, it was Renato Vega who got the red card in the 39 minutes. And also, I can tell you that for what we see yesterday, it was Atletico de Madrid also victorious by 3-2. Conor Gallagher was on target, and Antoine Griezmann was also on target in that encounter. But for Real Madrid on Saturday night, they defeated Sevilla by 2-0. Jude Bellingham and Kylian Mbappe both on target. But Kylian Mbappe equaled Cristiano Ronaldo's record of 59 goals in a calendar year for Real Madrid in that ad-fought victory. So you take a look at the standings. Barcelona top of the standing with 46 points. Real Madrid second with 42 points. And Atletico de Madrid third with 37 points. All right, in Italian football, Fiorentina won their first Serie A match of the season yesterday after thumping 10-man Udinese 5-1 there in Florence. Moiskin then netted his first league goal in nearly 2 months in the 56th minute, tapping it into an empty net. And so you tell that it's definitely good to see Fiorentina get a victory. I remember I said this last week that for Fiorentina, from the season they had the last season finishing 6th, and now to the way they've been performing this season. So now they have a victory eventually there in the Italian Serie A. Well, in Germany, it was Hurricane who captained Bayern Munich over the course of the weekend, and they won by 4-2. Defeated Edenham by 4-0. And for Hurricane also, he smashed the Arjen Robben's record in Bayern Munich's rout. So in France, Marseille was told that they cruised in the French Cup as Monaco also advanced to the last 32. But in the Nigerian Premier Football League, from the games that went down for Shooting Stars a year in Ibadan, they got a victory 2-1. That was the victory for the Oluyole Warriors. And they tell that for other club sides involved in action yesterday, Wiki Tourist and Kun Khalifat 0-0. Bendel Insurance, they defeated the Remo Stars by 3-2. Abia Warriors defeated Warri Wolves by 1-0. Enugu Rangers defeated the Ikorodu City by 2-1. But the top table toppers, that's Rivers United, they have a game later today against they have a game against the Katsina United later today. But this is how far we can go on today's edition of the show. Thanks so much to everyone who has joined us. We'll come later in the afternoon. Discuss about the African Cup of Nations. What was your moment in the game that went on last night at the Prince Abdullah Stadium, as well as the other actions set to go down later today. I am SAMIES, your sports captain. I say do enjoy the rest of the day, and bye for now.
Happy people.